This is important because it's just as much your responsibility to help fix this nation as anybody else. So when we get to the part where we say I want each one of you to own it. I want you to state your name as we do this pledge. Are we ready for this?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here today.
It's cooking out here.
Yeah, it is.
You know what's amazing about this? We were worried about rain, and then I think a lot of you guys probably said prayers for good weather, and here we are. Well, God bless you guys for being here. We appreciate you because Convention of States doesn't happen without you. Just before I came down, I was sitting in a senator's office up there on the 6th floor, and I happened to look out the window, and I saw you. What a beautiful sight from the Senate office, right? I love that. Yeah, I get the chance to travel all around the country, hang out with folks like you all over the country, and when I travel, I get thanked a lot for what I do. And the real thanks is to be here with you guys. It's not what I do, it's what you do. And I can tell you inside the building right now, they're watching and they appreciate you. So why don't we make some noise and let them know we're here.
Hey!
That's some good noise. We like that. Yeah. I love it. I guarantee you they hear that inside the building. So look, there's a couple of things I want to talk about today. Obviously, we have Representative Riddell, Senator Sanderson. These are two of our biggest supporters in the legislature here. And these are folks also that know about Convention of States for a very long time. So we're going to talk a little bit today about not just what's going on right now, what's going on today, but what's happened over the years. Convention of States as an organization has existed for 9 years. We've had a lot of major events throughout the history, passing in states, not passing in states, conventions. We had a simulated convention back in 2016, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about why it's so important, and especially right now, to support Convention of States. So big round of applause for your elected representative and senator. All right, so what I want to do is we're going to go back and forth. I want to start with Representative Riddell. Why don't you just introduce yourself to folks and let them know how you got into Convention of States and why you support it.
Well, good afternoon, we the people. What a delight to see so many patriots on the grass here at Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to your government. This is your building, that's your building, these are your buildings. The grass that you are sitting on, standing on, is your building, is your grass. I got first involved in the Convention of States movement. I attended an ALEC convention in Washington, D.C. about 9 years ago. And I went to a presentation where a good brother, Senator Tom Coburn and Mark Meckler were present. And they presented to the legislators present the whole COS idea in Article 5. I had to break out my Constitution and look at Article 5 again. No kidding, I used to teach government. And I knew Article 5 had to do with amendments, but I had somehow skipped over that part about the authority, the power that the states are given by our founding fathers in Article 5 to rein in an out-of-control federal government. So that's why we're here. That's how I got started. Like many of you, I have children. My wife and I have done our part for the activist numbers. We have 8 children. My wife is Polly. She's right over there in the black. Mother of a multitude. And we knew we had to leave things better for our children than we found them. And that was a legacy from our parents, that you always leave things better. And we realized that as we were getting older and our children were getting older, that what we were going to leave for our children was a bag of wet garbage. And that was not going to suffice. So we were looking for something, some way that would answer the huge nature of the problem, which is an out-of-control Washington, D.C., and we found that solution in Article 5.
Senator?
I just totally want to appreciate everyone that has come out here today, because this is what our democracy is all about. It's when the people become concerned about the direction of our nation, and they become concerned enough to put feet on their thoughts and their words. They stop screaming at the TV or just talking to their neighbors, but they begin to go out and to talk to others and recruit an army. And that's what I see here, is North Carolina's army for the Convention of States. And I look at this group and I know that there are thousands more that feel just like you do. I was first introduced to Convention of States at the mock convention. I went because out of curiosity. I knew a little about our amendments and the safeguards that our founders had put in our Constitution. I wanted to learn more, and so I went not knowing what to expect. And I was blown away by the sincerity, the professionalism, the groups that came together to discuss the problems that even in 2016 our government was experiencing, and it's just gotten worse since then. But I mean, they were serious about this thing. And the great thing was that after we were divided into groups, we got to choose what part of government that we would like to concentrate on. I chose the court system and I don't know what made me choose the court system, but I did. And now here we are, that one of the biggest obstacles to democracy right now, it seems, are some of our court officials. And so we have got to continue this fight. We've lost some battles, but we're going to win this war. It's just a matter of time before the people prevail. It's just a matter of time before Lincoln's words of other people, by the people, and for the people are all that is heard. That's all that needs to be heard. And you guys are here because you have the same concern I do, that our nation is absolutely out of control, going in the wrong direction, and they will never, Washington, D.C. will never, never, never rein itself in or curtail any of the powers that it has set aside for themselves. I think the only answer to this nation are the states and the people in those states taking the state rights that we have given away and put them back in the states and let our states serve the people inside the boundaries of their state. Can we still become a nation? Sure, we can stay a nation. But there's so many things that we need to be doing at local levels, and it needs to go even below the state level. It needs to go down to the local level, that decisions are being made that affect you and your families and the next generation. Because what we're doing right now, one of the biggest concerns I have is that we are spending the next generations and the generations after that, we are obligating them to almost a level of poverty for the debt that this nation finds itself in. And we're not going to have a president that comes along and decrees that we're going to forgive all of this debt, because this debt is not going to be forgiven. It's going to have to be paid back. And so I'm here because I think that that's more of a concern to me than China, than Russia, than epidemics, pandemics, whatever you call, whatever you name. And so that's why I'm here, and that, I think, is the only way that Washington will ever bring its spending under control, is by a move from the states, and this is the best movement that I've ever seen to do that.
Can you describe that experience, folks? A lot of people have come into the movement since we had that simulated convention back in 2016. That's been a long time now, right? That's 6 years ago. Seems like it was just yesterday in some ways. So can you describe what that experience was like attending that convention?
Thank you, Mark. We attended the convention, and every state had their own little tripod here that marked that state. And I was pleased to serve with Senator Sanderson, my House colleague Burt Jones. At the time, the three of us were the North Carolina delegation. And what that simulation did, I wished you all could participate in something like that, because what it did was reacquaint the other attendees that were there with the rich tradition of conventions that our nation actually has. And we have forgotten about the Stamp Act Congress, self-energized. It wasn't energized by a Congress, by a king, or by a president. It was the people in the colonies organizing themselves to oppose tyranny. The First Continental Congress, the Second Continental Congress, the Constitutional Convention. All of these things were homegrown, generated by the people, by we the people. And our founders, in their wisdom, gave us the path upon which we could rein in an out-of-control federal government. And that was with Article 5, a convention of the states, limited to specific goals and able to be used whenever we, the people, wise up enough to know that we have that power. That is a great power held by the state legislatures. And I appreciate so much every one of you being here to remind me and to remind my colleagues that the states have the power over the federal government if we will only exercise it. The simulation proved to me it can be done. It can be done decently and in order. It can be done with a purpose. It can stay within the purposes stated. It's not a runaway. It's not a high risk. It's more of a high risk to leave things as they are. So let's get busy. Let's get Convention of States passed here in North Carolina.